Well, let me be the first to extend a welcome to you here to the University of Nebraska-Lincoln's East Campus. This is a really momentous day for us here at the university to be able to honor four very distinguished Nebraskans who have served our country greatly as Secretary of Agriculture of the U.S. Department of Agriculture. This has been quite a long time in the making, and you'll hear a little bit about kind of the history of how we have come to have these four wonderful statues on our campus. But before we do that, I would like to invite the president of the University of Nebraska, Dr. Jim Linder, to come and welcome you to our event today. Jim?
Thank you, Ronnie. I didn't realize the power you had over weather. You did a really good job. So as we were gathering before this session, I was talking to Senator Johanns, and he asked what the best part of this job was. And I said, you know, I get to learn new things all the time. So I'm an MD pathologist by training, and in medical school there's not too much focus on agriculture. But in this job I've learned a lot of things, you know, and in preparing for this session I read about the Morrill Act and how transformative it was for our country. With over 100 land-grant institutions formed, including the University of Nebraska in 1869. And it really was a momentous and transformative action in the entire country, if you think about all of the people who've been educated through land-grant institutions. And we're very proud to have a great one here in Lincoln, Nebraska. We've also been fortunate that this has helped us strengthen our agricultural heritage and shape our agricultural future. Having four individuals lead the U.S. Department of Agriculture over its history is very substantial, and it's a source of great pride for all Nebraskans, because those individuals have helped advance policies and technologies, techniques, and inspire others into agriculture so that we can do our job of feeding the world. And so it's really wonderful that we're able to honor these individuals today, because students of the future, as they walk this East Campus, will see these individuals, will learn about their history, learn about their contributions, and be inspired to follow a similar career path. So it's great that you're here. I won't take any more time, and I'll turn the podium back to you, Ronnie. Thank you.
Well, I didn't introduce myself a moment ago. My name is Ronnie Green, and I have the pleasure and privilege of serving as the Vice Chancellor of the Institute of Ag and Natural Resources here at the University of Nebraska. And I want to just give you a little bit of brief backdrop on how we came about having this recognition today. Some of you will recall that 2 years ago was the 150th anniversary of the Morrill Act that Jim just mentioned, that formed the land-grant university system in the United States. And as he said, the transformative power that that public land-grant university has had on our country has been really immeasurable in many ways. And as a way of us celebrating that 150th anniversary, we had a series of events here on the campus during the last week of September of 2012. And one of those events was that we hosted four former Secretaries of Agriculture on the stage of the Lead Center talking about current day issues in agriculture. And we had some 1,400 people there that evening, and Mike and Clayton that we're honoring today were joined by John Block and Dan Glickman, former Secretaries of Agriculture from Kansas and Illinois, in that event. Earlier that day, we commissioned these four statues that we're dedicating today to be built and put here on the campus of the university so that our students, for many, many generations to come, would have a recognition of the contributions that these four gentlemen have made to U.S. agriculture and certainly to the state of Nebraska. So that's a little bit of the history of how we came about this recognition. I will tell you, just to add a footnote to what President Linder has just said, that there is only one state in the United States that has had more than four individuals serve as U.S. Secretary of Agriculture, and that's our current neighbor to the east in the state of Iowa. that has 5 Secretaries of Agriculture, including the current Secretary, Tom Vilsack, who's serving today. So we are well in the race to be back at 5 and 6 and 7 in the future, and we expect that we'll add statues to this legacy plaza over time as more Nebraskans serve as Secretary of Agriculture in the future. These statues, I will just point them out to you to give you some orientation. If you haven't had a chance to see them, we hope that you will after the ceremony. J. Sterling Morton's statue is just behind us here. The first of the secretaries we'll honor in a moment. Dr. Clifford Hardin's statue sits just to the corner of the Philly Hall building here. Clayton Yeutter's statue is around the other side of this building overlooking the Jeannie Yeutter Garden. It is in honor of Clayton's first wife. So on the other side of Philly Hall, and then Senator Johanns' statue is just behind me on this other side of the trees behind us. So if you haven't had an opportunity to go look at the sculptures, we hope that you will before you leave campus this afternoon. We commissioned Matt Plachek, an artist from Omaha, to make these 4 statues. And if you are familiar with the Omaha area, you will have seen some of his work in front of the CenturyLink Center in Omaha. He does wonderful work. You see that here before you today. And we did that after 4 groups were able to raise private funding to pay for the statues to be erected here on the campus. And we're very indebted to a number of people who are in the audience today who were donors to make that happen and leaders that led the fundraising effort. I'm going to invite Matt, if he would like to come forward and make just a few comments about the artwork. Matt, where are you at? Here he is. So our sculptor, Matt Plachek.
Thank you. Well, it's such a pleasure to be here today and to be a part of this wonderful project. You know, when you look back on your career and think about the different aspects of your career, this is one of the projects that I will really look back and think of and remember fondly. And that is mostly working with the families and getting to know the families of all the recipients today, and just the wonderful legacy that they've created. And for me, to be a part of this wonderful campus, it's just truly an honor, and I really appreciate being a part of it. Thank you so much.
So we'll now recognize each of the 4 U.S. Secretaries of Agriculture. And as I said, J. Sterling Morton's statue is just behind us here. Julia Sterling Morton was born in New York, raised in Michigan, and moved to Nebraska after graduating from the University of Michigan. Upon arrival, he began writing for the Nebraska City News, and you'll recognize his influence on Nebraska City over the years. After building a small farmhouse, Morton began planting trees and researching varieties that would grow well here in Nebraska. He was active in politics from a young age, serving in the state legislature and as governor of what was at the time the Nebraska Territory. After serving as governor, he joined the State Board of Agriculture, where he came up with the idea to celebrate the planting of trees. The first Arbor Day was held in 1872 and quickly became a national holiday. Grover Cleveland appointed J. Sterling Morton Secretary of Agriculture, where he served from 1893 to 1897. He became the 3rd Secretary of the department and the first cabinet member from west of the Mississippi River. As Secretary, Morton believed in conservative spending and only spending funds that were necessary. That sounds somewhat familiar. Today, J. Sterling Morton is remembered as the founder of Arbor Day and builder of Arbor Lodge in Nebraska City. And I don't think we have a representative from his family here. We did in 2012. His great-granddaughter was with us from California. I will also tell you that at the luncheon 2 years ago, those of you that were there will remember a wood made of catalpa wood statue that is an ideal image of the one that you see here now in bronze. That statue is now in the Lead Lodge at Nebraska City and will be on display there in perpetuity. So join me in appreciation for J. Sterling Morton. Next, Clifford Hardin was U.S. Secretary of Agriculture from 1969 to 1971, having been tapped by President Richard Nixon soon after his election. Among his accomplishments was the 1970 Farm Bill, which was crafted with much compromise and negotiation. Hardin, who was born in 1915, grew up in Indiana and helped run a family farm there. He earned his BS, MS, and PhD degrees from Purdue University. In 1954, he was named Chancellor, which would now be analogous to President Linder of the University of Nebraska. At age 38, he was the youngest person in the country to hold a presidency of a university. He previously was Dean of Agriculture and Director of the Experiment Station at Michigan State University. During his tenure, the University of Nebraska underwent significant growth and change, including adding Omaha University in 1969 to create today's current University of Nebraska system. After Hardin's time as Ag Secretary, he was Vice President and Vice Chairman for Research for Ralston Purina and Chairman of Ralston Purina of Canada from 1971 to 1980. Not one for early retirement, at age 65 he became Director of the Center for the Study of American Business at Washington University and Vice President and Board Member at Stifel Nicholas, an investment banking firm in St. Louis. Hardin Hall, which is the former Kellogg Center that many of you will remember on the corner of 33rd and Holdridge, is named in his honor. He passed away at his home in Lincoln at the age of 94. He was married to Martha Love Wood for over 70 years. The couple had 5 children, 15 grandchildren, and 23 great-grandchildren, many of whom are here today. So Cynthia Milligan, would you please come forward, one of the daughters of Clifford Hardin? And your sisters, please. Come forward, and we have a memento for your family to commemorate the day that we'd like to give you, and then if you would like to make any remarks, we'd welcome you to do that as well.
Well, on behalf of my 2 sisters, Sue Wood and Nancy Hardin Rogers, and our 2 brothers who could not be here, Cliff Hardin and Jim Hardin, and out there, everyone that is a descendant of Clifford and Martha Hardin, raise your hands. There are about 40 back there. We graciously thank the university for this very nice honor, and Matthew for a sculpture that we're very, very pleased with. So thank you very much for this very special day. Ronnie?
Next, we honor Clayton Yeutter. Dr. Clayton Yeutter served as Secretary of Agriculture from 1989 to 1991 under President George H.W. Bush. He and his USDA team were responsible for much of the 1990 Farm Bill, which moved U.S. farm policy toward greater market orientation. Clayton was born and raised on a Dawson County, Nebraska farming and cattle operation, which he managed for many years, and there's some Dawson County folks in the audience. His undergraduate degree was in animal husbandry. I'm really proud of that, Clayton, as an animal scientist, and he later received a JD degree and a PhD in agricultural economics, all from UNL, and all with highest honors. He then headed the Nebraska mission to Columbia, the largest agricultural technical assistance program in the world. In the private sector, Dr. Yeutter served 7 years as CEO of the Chicago Merc, one of the world's largest and most preeminent financial institutions. He is now with Hogan Lovells, one of the world's largest law firms, located in Washington, D.C. In the public sector, he served in 3 sub-cabinet posts and in 3 cabinet or cabinet-level posts as Secretary of Agriculture, U.S. Trade Representative under President Reagan, and Counselor to the President, the only Nebraskan ever to do so. Please join me in honoring Clayton Yeutter. And Clayton, would you please come forward?
Thank you very much, Ronnie Green, and my great compliments to you for putting this program together. I think all of us who have been a part of this will be eternally grateful for the afternoon that we're experiencing here today. And President Linder, it's so nice of you to come out and join in on this ceremony. We're going to make an Aggie out of you before the day is over. If we possibly can. My congratulations too to my fellow colleagues in the Secretary of Agriculture world, and especially Senator Johanns, who will be coming up here in just a minute. I've shared many podiums with Senator Johanns from time to time through the years, and it's been a pleasure on every single occasion. I can guarantee that. And you know, there are gobs of Hardins out here. That's a big family, but there are a whole slew of Yeuters too. So if I can have all the Yeuters relatives just put your hands up, you can see those as well. And with that, I would just simply say it's you know, I've been a Cornhusker all my life, and you know, I would bleed red for forever, and it's always a pleasure to come back to Nebraska, and especially on this campus. I spent a lot of years here. I'm sure the university wondered whether I was ever going to stop studying and start earning a living, but eventually I did that. And nevertheless, it's just wonderful always to come back, and I express my great gratitude to everyone involved with the university system, and especially to Vice Chancellor Green. Thanks to all of you for coming.
And last but not least, we honor our 4th U.S. Secretary of Agriculture from Nebraska, current Senator Mike Johanns. On January 6, 2009, Mike Johanns was sworn in as U.S. Senator for Nebraska. He won the support of an overwhelming majority of Nebraskans by demonstrating principled leadership throughout 25 years of public service. Senator Johanns currently serves on 5 committees: Agriculture, Nutrition, and Forestry, surprise there, Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs, Environment and Public Works, Veterans Affairs, and Indian Affairs. He is the ranking member on the Agriculture Committee's Domestic and Foreign Marketing, Inspection, and Plant and Animal Health Subcommittee. He became the 28th Secretary of the U.S. Department of Agriculture in January of 2005 and served as Nebraska's 38th governor from 1999 to 2005. Previous to that, Mayor of Lincoln as well. And I remember 2005 well because I was at the time, a member of the USDA staff and had the opportunity to serve under Senator Johanns' leadership. He grew up on a farm where he learned a work ethic that has been put to use serving the people of Nebraska and this country. The values he developed while growing up in the Midwest serve as the foundation for his commitment to public service. Mike is married to Stephanie Johanns, and I think the entire Johanns family is here today. Former Lancaster County Commissioner and Nebraska State Senator. The couple has 2 children and 5 grandchildren. Mike, please come forward and be honored.
Well, thank you, Ronnie, and everybody that is here. Thank you so much for being here. Let me, if I might, start out and introduce the Johanns family. I won't do that individually, but I will ask them all to stand and turn around and wave at the crowd. You know, I will acknowledge one person specifically because you know how special she is to my life. And that's my wife, Stephanie. We kind of get the glory in these jobs. I'm the one that gets to go all over the world and travel, and I did as Secretary of the Department of Agriculture. It's Stephanie that stays home and keeps the home fire burning, and for that I cannot be more grateful. I also want to remember my manners today, and Dr. Linder, I want to thank the University of Nebraska. You can't be a former governor and a United States senator without coming to a very deep, passionate appreciation of what the university system does in our state. Decades and decades ago, when the USDA was created, President Lincoln, Abraham Lincoln, said that this would be the People's Department. And I suspect that every Secretary of Agriculture has had a bust of the President Lincoln in the Secretary's office. Think about that in reference to this university system. If there is one institution in this state that is truly the People's Department, the People's Institution, it would be the University of Nebraska. It is here where we get the latest and greatest information about what's happening in science or technology. It's here where our future is educated, and I just can't tell you enough how much I appreciate what you do for our state. I also want to wrap up today and thank somebody who has been a part of my life really throughout my public service, and that's Dr. Jim McClurg. Jim has been a friend of mine for a long, long time. He's always been the chairman of my campaigns. I'm sure there were days he thought for better or for worse. But I think it was Jim that really sat down and tried to encourage this idea of let's find a place for the secretaries to be honored. I never would have imagined it would be like this. So to everyone involved, to the sponsors, to Dr. McClurg, to the university, thank you, God bless you. On behalf of all of us, I just want you to know we're deeply appreciative. Thank you very much.
Well, as I said, when the next Secretary of Agriculture from Nebraska is appointed, we'll start working on that next statue to be part of what we're calling Legacy Plaza. This area of the campus is under design actually at the moment, with opportunity for this area to be opened up. So the plan is for the Union to have a plaza extended out to the edge of this sidewalk with a water feature that will go in there to feature water around Nebraska. And then the C.Y. Thompson Library that is immediately behind me, looking out to the west, was just approved by the Board of Regents yesterday for a $22.5 million renovation. I'm raising money in case you just wondered. That will become the Student Learning Commons for the University of Nebraska-Lincoln's East Campus, with a new courtyard in front of it. So you can see how this area of the campus, along with a new residence hall that the board, I hope, approves, Dr. Linder, in November, that will be located just over here. So these 4 gentlemen are going to touch a lot of students in the future, and that was our intent. Thank you for being here today. I hope that you enjoy the game Go Big Red this afternoon. Please go around the mall, look at the statues, get a chance to take them in. We appreciate you being here, and again, join me in welcoming and honoring these four gentlemen to our campus.